Hey everyone, welcome back. So, I swapped my Fujifilm X-T4 for this little Sony ZV1 vlogging camera. That should have been my dramatic clickbait title, but that's not really me. However, it is true that for one day, I traded cameras with a friend and enjoyed wandering around with this light and very compact camera. This camera is of course designed for vlogging, with its flip-around screen, face tracking and stabilization. In fact, the V most probably stands for very good at selfies, but all of that stuff's not really me either, so I'll skip that side of things. But what if you wanted the camera for vlogging and wondered how it might fare as your everyday carry everywhere stills camera? That's the simple question that I'll try to answer here, with a few thoughts and, as always, a lot of random photos. My greatest photography love is photographing just whatever's around. I do also love traveling and exploring both new and familiar places. This year has mostly been about familiar places, and all of these pictures are from just one day of walking around my hometown. The only plan was to enjoy the walk and to enjoy the day. My first thoughts were that it was a wonderful novelty for me to be using a zoom lens for a change. This tiny Zeiss lens gives a 24mm to 70mm field of view. I have probably taken versions of some of these pictures 100 or more times, and mostly with a fairly wide-angle lens. So it was fun and unusual to be able to take one wide picture and then zoom in and find another composition in the same scene. A 28mm or 35mm is my preferred field of view, and I do prefer a fixed lens. I like that it stops my brain having to think about altering the focal length. I like that it's a variable that doesn't change. However, on this occasion, it really was enjoyable to play with the simple options a zoom lens gave me. I love taking pictures when the sun's out. It shapes buildings and casts interesting shadows. However, this camera doesn't have an electronic viewfinder, and in the sunshine it's a little more difficult to see the LCD screen. This made composing and visualizing the pictures a little more difficult. Furthermore, the friend who lent me the camera is a videographer, and he had set the camera to a flat, muted profile. Trying to be a good human being, I didn't want to mess too much with the settings before returning it. This meant that throughout the day, I never saw a vivid, colourful representation of the pictures I was taking, either when composing or occasionally reviewing them. Of course, I was shooting in RAW files, but being a camera and brand that I'm quite unfamiliar with, this created a lot of doubt in my mind as to how the final images would look. Could I edit them to look how I wanted? I guess you'll have made up your mind about the image quality already, as I've shown you many pictures here. But I was extraordinarily impressed and smiled a huge smile when I first saw them properly. I don't know why my expectations were so low or uncertain. Maybe because it has a smaller sensor than even my beloved Fuji cameras, and maybe because I spent the whole day being unable to review the pictures properly. I do notice a little vignetting, but my wonderful Contax T2 film camera creates vignetting too. I guess on a film camera they call it character. Well, I think these have a certain character. I even thought to myself I'd be very happy with wedding pictures taken on this. It resoundingly would not be the camera I chose to use at a wedding, either professionally or as a guest. Personally, an electronic viewfinder is so important to me, but the picture, once taken, is pretty much as good as I need. It's unreasonable to expect a camera designed to do one job, vlogging, superbly, to be the perfect everyday stills camera as well. However, if you're not as hung up about the lack of EVF as me, then this might impress you too. Thanks everyone for watching, for considering subscribing, and for thumbs upping. I really appreciate it.